Welcome to the first edition of DBSN Overtime. I'm Eli Baxter.
And I'm JD Lowe. We're ecstatic to have you join us for this first episode.
Yep. Well, in DBSN Overtime, we're looking at all different kinds of sports, non-Berlin sports, all the way from NFL this week, all the way down to soccer. Yeah.
That's right, Eli. We'll be covering everything from NFL, college football, MLB, to the MLS.
Yep. Well, let's get into our first one. So we're going to talk about last week's top games in the NFL. Starting off with the Texans and the Vikings. Texans traveled to Minnesota and they got it handed to them. The Vikings won 34-7.
Yeah, that was a disappointing game for all the Buckeye fans who were rooting for C.J. Stroud there.
Yeah. Threw 2 interceptions and only 1 touchdown, so not a great performance. But Sam Darnold, though, on the other hand, he threw for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
great game.
And Stephon Diggs, after that monumental trade he was in with the now that he's at the Texans, he ended up having a pretty good game. Ended up having 10 receptions and ran for 94 yards.
Yep, it was his first game back in Minnesota after the Minneapolis Miracle and the playoffs against the Saints a couple years ago. And then our next game was the Eagles and the Saints. It was a close one in Caesars Superdome down in New Orleans. The Eagles did come out on top, 15-12. And both teams are now 2-1. So
yeah, that's right. And QB Jalen Hurts ended up having a bit of a bounce back game. Ended up throwing for 311 yards and only 1 interception.
Yeah,
didn't have any touchdowns, but still a good game.
Yep. Derek Carr still showing his quality. Still a lot left of the season, so Saints look to be a contender. And then the Steelers, they stayed undefeated as they played the 2-0 Chargers. The Chargers are now 2-1. It was 20-10 at the end of that game. Justin Fields, another Ohio State QB, he played well.
Steelers looking like they might have won that trade. We'll see how they do next week.
Yeah, another Ohio State player was running back J.K. Dobbins. He's had a great start to the season. An all right game for him on Sunday, but looking to bounce back next week.
And then the next game, the Ravens took on the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium.
Yep. It was a final score of 28-25. Dallas kind of not playing the best at home. They've lost their past 3 home games, including last year's playoff game. Looking to start picking it up here.
Yeah, good game for the Ravens. They finally ended up getting a win. They're 0-2 to start the year. Now they're 1-2. Lamar ended up having a good game, threw for 182 yards and had 1 touchdown.
Derrick Henry is back. He's carried the ball 25 times. And ran for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. So great game for him.
And then the Rams took on the 49ers, and they would win 27-24.
Yep. Matthew Stafford threw for 221 yards and 1 touchdown in that performance. And Brock Purdy also threw for 292 yards and 3 touchdowns. So great game for him, but just Rams pulled it out in the end. So
yeah. Competitive game there.
Yep.
Chiefs would play the Falcons, and they would win 22-17 to remain undefeated, 3-0.
Yep, Falcons playing pretty well. They just had some tough opponents. Beat the Eagles last week and on Monday Night Football. Patrick Mahomes threw for 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he did have 1 interception on the day, but still.
Yeah, the Chiefs just don't look like they can lose right now.
Yeah, still pulled out a win. And then heading into all of our other games. From last week, the Giants got their first win. Colts got their first win. So did the Broncos and the Panthers. And then the Seahawks and the Bills are staying undefeated after their wins, looking to keep that streak alive heading into Week 4.
And then we look to the undefeated teams that remain in the NFL. The Vikings, Steelers, Seahawks, Chiefs, and Bills all remain undefeated. All of them looking like they want to win their division and go on to get a good Super Bowl playoff race.
Yeah, a couple surprises there with the Vikings, who lost their starting QB at the beginning of the season, J.J. McCarthy. Steelers lost theirs with Russell Wilson, but Justin Fields has filled that spot, so looking good. And then our top Week 4 games in the NFL, we've got the Vikings and the Packers, Buccaneers and the Eagles, Chiefs and Chargers, Bills and Ravens, Seahawks versus Lions, which is going to be a Monday Night Football game, and then the Saints versus the Falcons.
That's right. And the Cowboys taking on the Giants in a rivalry game, Thursday Night Football. And the Steelers are going to be heading to Indianapolis, and they're trying to stay undefeated. See if Justin Fields can carry them to another win.
Yep. And then heading out from NFL, we're going to head into our college football. Our top 6 games of the week, we've got Oklahoma State back on there. After their loss to Utah last week, they're taking on the Kansas State Wildcats. Oklahoma State's ranked 20th, and Kansas State is 23rd.
Yeah, it's going to be a close matchup. 2 3-1 teams. I think Kansas State there, looking to bet on Oklahoma State just coming off a loss. I think Kansas State will get the win.
Yeah, we'll see. Make some more picks in our picks of the week later. And then we've got number 15 Louisville versus number 16 Notre Dame. Louisville's undefeated, but Notre Dame a couple weeks ago lost to Northern Illinois at home 16-13. So looking to improve their ranking here with a big win. And then big one, number 2 Georgia is heading down to Alabama's home. Alabama's ranked 4th. First time in a very long time Alabama is the underdogs at home. So going to be a shootout of last year's SEC championship game. And then 19 Illinois, who's off to a great start, already beating two ranked opponents in Kansas and Nebraska last week. They're taking on Penn State, who's ranked 9th. So going to be a great game.
Yeah, that's right. Arizona and Utah are going to be playing as well. Arizona currently 2-1, and Utah still undefeated at 4-0. Arizona coming off a loss, see if they can bounce back. And Utah coming off a win, so they're trying to keep that hot streak alive, to keep the undefeated streak going.
Yep. And then our Ohio State Buckeyes, they're heading up to East Lansing to take on the Michigan State Spartans. Ohio State ranked number 3 right now, so looking to continue the hot streak. Michigan State lost to Boston College, so that's their only loss in the year, so looking to be a pretty good game.
And then we have our picks of the week for the week, some big games coming up, so we'll let you know who we think will come out on top. So first game, we have Oklahoma State and Kansas State. They're both 3-1, and I think, like I said, Oklahoma State coming off a loss. I don't think they have the momentum right now to get a win. So I'm gonna have to go with Kansas State for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the opposite. I've got Oklahoma State. Kansas State lost to BYU 38-9 last week, and Oklahoma State kept it close against Utah. So I got the Cowboys in that one.
And then we have Louisville and Notre Dame. Louisville currently 3-0, Notre Dame 3-1. Notre Dame's loss coming to a pretty lower ranked Northern Illinois, so I'm gonna have to go with Louisville for that game. They're also undefeated. I think they'll keep the hot streak going.
Louisville's kind of looking like a dark horse this year in the ACC, so I've got Louisville as well. Well, be a great game though. And then the big one, Georgia versus Alabama. Who do you got for that one?
It's a tight one, but I'm still gonna have to go with Georgia. Back-to-back national championships a few years back. I'm gonna have to go with Georgia for that one.
I'm going with Alabama. I mean, they are at home. The crowd's gonna be rocking. So
yeah, you can never bet them out.
Nope. And then Illinois and Penn State. That's in Happy Valley. So
yeah, it's another tight one. I think I'm gonna have to go with Penn State. You know, playing at home, that crowd can always do things for them. Always rally them to a win. I'm gonna have to go with Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to pull for Illinois. Penn State's looking pretty good. They got a win over West Virginia earlier in the year, but Illinois, I think they might pull it out. But I still got Penn State.
And then next game we have Arizona and Utah. Arizona currently 2-1 and Utah 4-0. I'm gonna have to go with undefeated Utah. They're just looking too good right now.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That one's I feel like a pretty good guess right there.
It should be a decisive win in my books.
Yeah. And then number 3, Ohio State versus Michigan State. I got to go with the Buckeyes. I mean, they're looking strong. Michigan State losing to Boston College. I still got the Buckeyes in this one.
Yeah, I think Buckeyes should be pretty heavy favorites for this game. I think should be a pretty wide gap in the score. I'm going to have to go with the Buckeyes.
Yeah. And then we're going to transition into MLB, our postseason race, as the season's coming to an end. We've got our league leaders in the AL. We've got the Yankees, the Cleveland Guardians, the Baltimore Orioles, and the Houston Astros as our top 4 leaders. And then in the NL, we've got the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Philadelphia Phillies, San Diego Padres, and the Milwaukee Brewers. And then aside from that, we've got our playoff bracket.
Yeah, so if the playoffs were to start today with all the league leaders we currently have, these would be the matchups and how we would see it all shape out. So obviously we have division leaders and conference leaders all playing each other. So we have a whole home team favorite here, the Guardians, who would get a move on to the second round. They're doing really well, obviously, right now. The Yankees, obviously, as well as the Dodgers and the Phillies.
Yep. The Tigers and the Royals also in the same division as the Guardians, so the AL Central's looking like a strong division right there. And then we're gonna head to hockey.
Yeah, we turn to hockey news as the NHL's preseason has just started getting underway. The Blue Jackets unfortunately fell to the Sabres up in Buffalo. 6-1, pretty decisive win. The Blue Jackets obviously preseason didn't have a lot of their starters out, but a rough game for them. And then last night they would end up winning against the St. Louis Blues 3-0. So that was a good game for them. Obviously, they would tribute Johnny Gaudreau after the sad passing of him earlier this summer. So it was a good game overall. The fans obviously liked the sentiment of the game, and the Jackets will go to play for go play against the Capitals later in the week for another preseason matchup. See if they can keep the win streak going.
Yep.
And then we look at outside of Columbus, a lot of other teams. Obviously, as the preseason gets going, looking to have some of their rookies, their young guns, try to help them out preseason, maybe early regular season, get some wins. The Sharks right now, obviously not a great team in the NHL, but they have lots of young guys, young prospects coming up. One of those, Macklin Celebrini, the reigning Hobey Baker winner for the NCAA, the best player in college. Yaroslav Askarov, they had a goalie traded in a pretty blockbuster trade from the Predators, so they'll get a young goalie there. He helped secure the second longest winning streak in AHL history last year, so he should be good for them. And then one of the OHL's leader in points last year, Quentin Musty, should be starting the year in San Jose, so he should be able to help him out. And then outside of just San Jose, Philly will be getting Matvei Michkov. He played in the KHL last year, wasn't allowed to come to the U.S. because of the tensions currently between the two countries. But he would go on to put 41 points in the KHL last year, so he should be able to help a struggling Flyers team. So we'll see how the Flyers end up doing, losing a lot of key pieces, but he should be able to help them out.
Yep. And heading into our final news, we've got our big news out of soccer. Cristiano Ronaldo is the first man to reach 900 career goals in all of soccer. He achieved this in Portugal's UEFA's Nations Leagues game last couple weeks ago against Croatia. It was a volley from 6 yards away to put Portugal up 2-0. They later went on to win that game 2-1. So great milestone there for soccer fans.
Yeah, just a great person to have in the sport to be able to reach 900 goals.
Yep. One of the debate between one of the two goats, him or Messi. So, and that's gonna be all we have for you guys today. We'll see you next week on Thursday.